Elena Kagan nominated to the Supreme Court. Roland, are you disappointed with the president's pick? Because some on the left are saying that she's in some ways too conservative.
Well, and what you find here is that Republicans, anytime there's a Republican president, they are going to appoint a strong conservative. Yet Democrats always seem to be afraid of appointing a strong liberal, so they rather appoint someone who's a centrist, who can sort of work both sides, if you will. And so I've talked to folks.
But Roland, I mean, conservatives are saying, look, she is a strong liberal. She's an activist, you know.
Well, first of all, I mean, you know, they'll call Arlen Specter a strong liberal, even though he was one of theirs. But the point there is, many folks, are you hearing folks on the left who are saying she is not as strong as a liberal as they would have liked to? But again, she's in an interesting spot here because Republicans are saying, well, we like her. Let's hear more from her. The left is saying, well, we don't quite sure, but we also like her. And so for the president, they're frankly in a very good position because you really don't have any hardened voices on either side.
Eric, there's a lot of hardened voices, certainly on radio, conservative radio, talking about her. What's your take on it?
Well, you know, she did write her thesis in college on socialism and how she lamented the death of the activist left and hoped it would come back, and wrote in the 80s that she was of the left. But, you know, I'm a little disappointed that Barack Obama didn't pick someone who wore a bow tie. With John Paul Stevens gone, it's the last of the bow ties in the Supreme Court. And, you know, but bigger, and I think this is going to be her Achilles heel. With John Paul Stevens retiring and Elena Kagan picked, there are no more members of the Supreme Court who are veterans of the U.S. military, which I think could turn into a big deal, particularly given some of the issues that may come up in the next few years with the Supreme Court.
Well,
you may look for
questions
conservatives
about
play that.
Her take on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and also recruiting at Harvard.
Right.
Jeff, you know her personally. Tell me about her.
We're law school classmates. I think you saw a good example of Elena Kagan in action today. She's self-confident, she's funny, she is very intelligent, and gets along with people. I think one of the reasons she got ahead of the other candidates is that she has a reputation of bringing people of diverse political viewpoints together. Over 10, 20, 30 years on the Supreme Court, that's going to be a very important skill. Not so much now, because I think most of the justices there are very set in their ways, but you can be influential.
The knock on her, though, Jeff, as you know, is that there's not a big paper trail on her, which probably would help her in the confirmation process, but that she hasn't really had to make decisions, that she hasn't been a judge, and so therefore she's been able to kind of do what, frankly, you know, then Senator or even before Barack Obama did, of kind of walk a middle road.
Well, and I think she is very much an Obama Democrat. She is no radical. She is in the center of the party. But I think we have to remember the history here. In 1954, when the Supreme Court decided Brown v. Board of Education, 8 of the 9 justices had never been judges before. Earl Warren was governor of California. Hugo Black was a senator. People had different backgrounds. Only in 2005 did all 9 justices become former federal appeals court judges. Obama believes in diversity in all things, including background.
Do you think she'll get the nomination? I mean, do you think she'll get it?
When you hear Orrin Hatch, John Kyle, Jeff Sessions, prominent Republicans today, almost endorsing her, but certainly not coming out against her, that was a very positive sign for her nomination.
And Anderson is unfortunate also. Eric talked about the bow tie of John Paul Stevens. We now, if she is confirmed, you will have basically an Ivy League Supreme Court. Folks who went to Yale, Harvard, Princeton, or whatever. And so, you know, because Stevens went to University of Chicago and law school at Northwestern. And so it would be nice, frankly, to have points of views who didn't simply go to these East Coast schools that frankly, doesn't represent the same views that other folks across the country. So it's great to see people from different parts of America versus Ivy League institutions.
That is a weird fact. Roland's exactly right about this. 7 products of Harvard Law School, 6 of Harvard Law School, 3 of Yale. That's just not right. You know, it's no reason to vote against her, but it's just
Anderson, one more quick point. After this weekend in Utah, seeing incumbent Senator Bob Bennett defeated, let's not underestimate the willingness of some of the long-term Republicans to actually fight, if only because they're now scared of their base.